Before you play Marvel's Midnight Suns, let me give you as much information as I could muster from the game's official videos that have been put out since this game's announcement more than a year ago now, to get you prepared for the game or give you an idea of the game if you might to see if you might be interested in it or not. So for the sake of this video, I'm sure there might be more information available about this game through other YouTubers and such like that have already had a chance to play it, but since I have not played it myself, I am going to be going off of only information from the official game channel itself. So if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. I will be talking about the officially released lore tidbits that we have gotten so far. So if there is a chance that you do want to go into this game blind, there is going to be a spoiler warning for some parts of the lore for this game. I'm not going to get into the lore right away. I will make another spoiler warning for the lore when we get to that point. I will start off by saying that normally in these videos I make more comic book connections and I give you kind of more comic book insight as to, like, you know, whatever the game is about. So like for in this instance it's about the Midnight Suns, so I would give you more insight about the Midnight Suns in the comics, but I won't be doing that as much because, truth be told, they kind of got started in a very similar way as they are in the game as well. So in the comics, the Midnight Suns originally formed because of Doctor Strange to fight Lilith and her army of Lilin, which are basically her demonic children. So Lilith is the main antagonist of this game as well, from everything we can see so far. So they do get set up in a very similar way. So that's all I'll mention about the comic book stuff right now, and there's a lot more stuff to get in about the actual game anyway. So Marvel's Midnight Suns is a tactical game developed by Firaxis, which are the same people who are responsible for incredibly popular tactical games like XCOM. So the game has a tactical battle system that utilizes cards, but it's worthy to mention that that doesn't inherently make it a card game. That's just how the tactical aspect of it is implemented. I know how people can get when they see cards in a game and, you know, it automatically gets equated to a card game. That is not the case. It's just the tactical route that they wanted to go with in this game in particular. So the main hero that you control is the Hunter. You do control other heroes, but I'll circle back to that. But the main hero you control in the RPG aspect is the Hunter, and the Hunter is heavily customizable. So you can choose, as to my knowledge, from what I can see, the gender, the look, all that stuff. And you can actually use any hero on the current roster in battle itself, but the RPG aspects to it, because there's the tactical combat system, then there's more of an RPG aspect outside of the battles. The RPG aspects are played by the Hunter specifically. So the Hunter is the child of Lilith and is awakened by the Midnight Suns, whose roster includes Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Magik, Blade, and Nico Minoru. I will also say the Scarlet Witch is also playable, but it looks like at some point in the game she is going to be an antagonist of some kind, which I'll circle back around later. So the Hunter was asleep for centuries in a crypt in a place known as the Abbey after seemingly killing Lilith, but now Lilith is back and the Caretaker has reformed the Midnight Suns. Caretaker, quote-unquote, that's just the character's name. The Abbey is an area located in a pocket dimension near Salem, Massachusetts. And I know I am talking a little bit about the lore. That is like the absolute basis of the lore right there. I'm going to get into like the more in-depth lore and the prequel shorts towards the end of the video, but now I'm going to talk about more of the gameplay aspects. So every hero can have a different play style, from dealing damage to being more of a support style, and then each of these skills you can upgrade. So you can upgrade these cards, which are their abilities and skills. You can get new costumes for all heroes, and you can have heroic team-ups, kind of like just like team attacks and stuff like that in the battle itself. So as far as the battle goes, so the player starts a match with 3 controllable heroes and is given a random selection of cards, so a random selection of heroic abilities, like a random hand from a deck of cards when you're dealt a hand. So these heroic abilities can be used in tandem with the environment as well. So you can send enemies off of rooftops, you can send enemies into breakable boxes and stuff like that to deal even more damage. You can even send enemies into each other to cause collateral damage, if I can say that word. So there are 3 different types of cards. There's attacks, skills, which is, you can think of skills as more like buffs and stuff in the defensive type. and heroics, which are able to be used by filling the heroism meter. So basically, you play cards, which are either attack cards or skill cards, and then you fill the heroism meter. And when the heroism meter has a certain amount that is required by a heroic card, you can then play the heroic card. And the heroic cards are the most strong cards in the game. They're the strongest, so they're the ones that really get things done. So from my understanding, you're going to want to make sure you can get the best heroic cards out and played as possible to deal the most damage. So outside of the actual combat, so outside of fights, the RPG aspect comes more into play while using the hunter to walk around the abbey. So while you're in the Abbey, you can interact with all the heroes, seeing new stories play out between you and them, along with exploration opportunities to get new things. When you interact with these heroes, if you interact with heroes a certain way, you can develop a deep friendship which can benefit their combat in actual fights. An example of friendship levels helping out during actual fights can be seen with this example of Captain America's block ability. Now, I will say real quick, I'm not going to go in depth for each individual hero's like abilities and stuff like that. They do that on their official YouTube channel in separate videos. But if I were to go in depth with each hero's abilities right now in this video, it would be too much. And this is more just to give you a basis and a background to this game to see if it's going to be a game for you or to give you more information if you were already going to get the game anyway. So Captain America's block ability can be a good example of friendship levels and stuff. So at friendship level 1, Captain America starts the fight with some block, and at friendship level 2, he not only starts the fight with some block, but he gains more block after each turn. And I know Captain America has another heroic ability where, I think it's Shield Charge, where it takes up the entirety of the block that Captain America has stored up to do a shield charge, like a shield bash type thing. And I'm assuming, obviously, the more block you have stored up, the more damage that heroic is going to do. So if you level up his friendship in the RPG side in the Abbey and stuff, you're going to have Captain America deal even more damage the higher his block is. So there are pets in the Abbey as well, such as a hellhound that you can pet and stuff that I'm pretty sure hangs out in your room. And I think you can also level up the friendship level of the hellhound as well. And you also have ways to update your room in the Abbey and decorate it and stuff to make it look different. So it's just a lot more of the RPG aspect that is a part of this as well. So they also did reveal the season pass and a clever Deadpool campaign that they had going on, where they acted as if Deadpool had hacked their different various accounts and stuff. It was pretty funny. The upcoming season pass, they already confirmed, will be adding Venom, Morbius, Storm, and Deadpool as playable characters with new missions to take on as well. And I will say the full roster of playable characters, I believe I've seen them say there are 12 playable characters plus the Hunter, so to me that insinuates almost that there's 13 including the Hunter. So with that being said, the ones that I know of are Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Magik, Blade, Nico, Minoru, and the Scarlet Witch. So that's 11. So with the Hunter, it would be 12. So if it's 12 total, including the Hunter, this is where it kind of gets a little muddy because I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure they meant 12 playable characters and then the Hunter on top of that, which would make it 13. But if they meant just 12 total, then those are your 12 playable characters. But if not, if there's really 13 including the Hunter, then there is one playable character that we don't know of yet, or at least I don't know of yet. I don't think they've officially revealed it, so that is worth it to be said. So now I will move on to Lilith and some lore. So if you really don't want to know about any story in this game whatsoever, and it's not in-depth spoilers, like I said, I'm going off of things that are just on their official channels and stuff and official information they have released. But if you want to go into this game completely blind to the lore, then this is a spoiler warning for the lore of Marvel's Midnight Suns. So Lilith seems to be the main antagonist of this game, and Lilith has been revived by Hydra using dark magic and science. So I will say as well, before I go deeper into the lore, there is some prequel shorts that are released that I'm going to go over individually towards the end. But I will be honest, I am making this game the Saturday before the release. Did I say the game? I meant this video. I am making this video the Saturday before the game's release, so it is very possible more prequel shorts have come out since I've finished making this video. So if that's the case, I do apologize, but for my own time constraints, I am making do with the information I have available to me right now as of the Saturday before. But back to the lore. So Lilith's main goal is to fulfill the prophecy of the Midnight Sun and revive her master Chthon. So not only does Lilith have an army under her control, but she also has 4 main minions in the form of Sabretooth, Venom, the Hulk, and the Scarlet Witch. And this is why I said I'm not entirely sure what happens with the Scarlet Witch, obviously lore-wise, but I do know she is playable at some point, but then at another point she is more of an antagonist. And I've also seen other articles speculate if it is the 13 total, including the Hunter, then maybe the Hulk is playable at some point as well, but obviously that remains to be seen. So Lilith is the mother of demons who, in the context of the game, was an immortal sorceress who fell in love with a man who was immortal, not immortal, amortal, and together they had the Hunter as a child. So the Hunter is the child of Lilith. Her spouse, died of the plague, which twisted and corrupted her into the mother of demons, and with her demon armies, she wished to release Chthon onto the world, and Chthon was an elder god responsible for writing the contents of the Darkhold. So when Lilith became evil, the Hunter was taken by Lilith's sister, the Caretaker, who trained her to fight and to stop Lilith. So the Hunter managed to kill Lilith, but died in the process, and now centuries later, Lilith has been revived by Hydra, and the Hunter has been brought back by the Midnight Suns. So now we will go over the individual prequel shorts that are out right now as of the time I am making this video. So the first prequel short, titled The Salem Sisters. So Lilith and the Caretaker fought off a fanatic, Hiram Shaw, back in the 1600s because he was going around killing witches. And I think the insinuation is that it is an ancestor of some kind of Sebastian Shaw, potentially, or something. Lilith met a mortal man and fell in love, and they had the Hunter together, but Lilith's love died of sickness. So the sickness then affected the Hunter as a baby. So in desperation, Lilith went to Shaw for help, seeing that Shaw had the Darkhold in his possession. So Lilith went to the Caretaker to help stop him from using the Darkhold, and they managed to seal Shaw away. However, Lilith then decided to use the Darkhold in an attempt to save the Hunter. The Caretaker fought against Lilith from doing so, and managed to beat her, but Lilith made an agreement with Chthon that he will save her child in return for her soul, essentially, which Lilith agrees. So the Caretaker agrees to spare Lilith, so she leaves, but Lilith ends up becoming consumed by Chthon, and it reveals that the Caretaker is telling the story, like this whole story of the short, the Caretaker is telling the story to Doctor Strange, who agrees to help stop Lilith, but that a team would need to be formed, and then it shows a montage of all of the Midnight Suns in action, so the Midnight Suns have to be formed to stop Lilith. The next prequel short is titled A New Sun Must Rise. So this follows the Caretaker talking to the Scarlet Witch about people needing to be recruited, and they talk about Magik and how she left the X-Men after graduating from Charles's school because she prefers to work alone. So they mention how she uses her sword to access Limbo, which is another dimension. Wanda approaches Magik and helps her fight off some demons, while Wolverine and the Caretaker watch from a distance, and then after fighting off the demons, Wanda talks to Magik and convinces her to join the Midnight Suns. So now the prequel short titled Hell on Wheels. So this shows Robbie Reyes driving casually when he's rolled up on by some people who claim that they saw his car on fire driving around at night and stuff, and that he had ran over their friends or ran his friends off the road, and they seem like just a bunch of criminals and stuff like that. So they throw a Molotov cocktail into his car, which sets it on fire. He then transforms into Ghost Rider and chases the people down to stop them. He manages to take them down pretty gruesomely, and he sets the last guy on fire and stuff. And then back at the car garage, he's approached by the Caretaker in what seems like a second attempt to recruit him to the Midnight Suns, which is implied to be successful as to how the short ends. It looks like that the Caretaker had approached Robbie Reyes before, but he had declined the opportunity, and now it seems like he does join the Midnight Suns at the end of this prequel short. And now the final prequel short is titled The Daywalker. So we see Blade take on these group of creatures that I'm honestly not entirely sure what they're meant to be. They look like they could be a mix of demons and vampires, like in one creature. But he does make short work of them because he's Blade. And then he's approached by the caretaker, and he's asked to join the Midnight Suns, which he immediately agrees to. So that is all the information I have right now as of the Saturday before the game's release on Marvel's Midnight Suns. If you want to see more, if you want to see the prequel shorts themselves, which I highly recommend because the animation is honestly fantastic, and if you want to see more of the gameplay itself in action, I will leave a link to the official Marvel's Midnight Suns YouTube channel in the description because they have all those videos down there. They also have videos going in depth about each character, not only their comic book history, but they have in-depth videos going over their skills and abilities and stuff in the actual game. Like I said, I just didn't want to go over that because it would make this video atrociously long, and you have to at least save some stuff to find out in the game, I would say. So comment down below if you're excited for Marvel's Midnight Suns, and if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content, and I appreciate you for watching the video.